Okay, day 5, and today we're going to be going to the roof rack place, aluminum, and we're going to be measuring out our van so that we can put on the roof racks. Adding square footage to your van while also giving you a place to go, you know, to have a beer at the end of the night or kind of whenever. So I highly recommend, but if you're on a budget, you might want to look at other options. I've seen people who have built their own thing with wood slats. And right around the time you're thinking about how you're gonna mount your solar panels is right when you're gonna be wondering, should I get racks or not? Away we go. On our way to Santee. There's father figure. So essentially we're gonna go with the mesh top because we wanna be able to walk up there. I wanna be able to put chairs up there and all that kind of stuff. At the standard double kind of rack, the double bar rack. Gotta have a hole for the vent. So, woo. This place is pretty cool, not gonna lie, they got drinks. We're in the customer lounge. Not gonna lie. Just kidding.
Got some serious welding going on back there.
Very ominous, I don't know. Whoa. It looks like they're like making alien weaponry back there. They got drinks. They even got merch. British Swanky. Dad's chilling. Luminous Productions.
There's a food truck here.
This ended up being $4,512. Or wait, no. It was a lot. So, back to Serrano Valley to do some insulation. Here we go. All right, so first things Dad's doing is he is measuring out how big you want the foam core, and you kind of just cut it out using an X-Acto knife and this machete looking thing.
It's a saw.
It's a saw, it's a hand saw, that's what it is. So he's using his lovely red marker. We've since lost the Sharpie, don't know who lost that.
It's got a little groove in the back to take this in.
Oh, cool, so very customizable. There, and it kind of just gonna fit real snug.
I'm gotta have to get some pressure on it to fit in there.
Yeah, because there's a little bit of a curve to your van. Usually, we're gonna try to get a nice bit of pressure in the middle. More on that as it develops.
Keep on tomorrow.
Then what I'm doing is I'm kind of organizing the electrical just a tiny bit, you know, kind of like wrapping it up before we put the insulation so the wires aren't going everywhere. So I'm kind of just, you know, circling it at certain points like this, keeping it center, and then we're kind of going a little bit farther and like on the metal part here, we're kind of just putting a little bit of tape. So there's no rubbing and all that kind of stuff. You know, my dad said something that I thought was really important. You know, you might as well do everything slowly and right now because once it's in there and once it's done, you're not gonna be able to fix it later. So we got this lovely bracer that my dad made on his first try. We've got a little bit of that silicone glue that we had before, and now Dad's gonna kind of put this stuff kind of like all in the edges here. We'll see if it'll kind of seep in. That's insulation, baby. A nice little chunk in the corner.
Like Mr. Shaky Boy lately.
Ooh, that's a nice bit in there. That's a good bit right there. Yo, then you kind of just cut and rinse and repeat for all of them, so.
Yeah, it'll take a billion years.
Yeah, everything takes a little bit longer than you think it's gonna take when you're making a van. You might think, oh, I can just do this. No. It's gonna take you twice as long.
Putting this caulking on here is like glue.
All right, so this is the same stuff that we used to seal the window. So it's quite gluey.
I have a ton of it.
We all good. We are starting to fill this giant cavity in here. And I'm starting to think that it might be a good idea if you're trying to, I don't know if it's more cost effective, but to putting sheep's wool in there. Just because the only problem with sheep's wool is that you need a lot of it for it to be effective. And what we have here is an excess of space. So, you know, this thing being 20 bucks a can, that might be a good idea to get a little bit of sheep's wool to put in kind of like the bigger areas, less like the nooks and crannies. Also a good reason to get sheep's wool is because we've got kind of like complicated areas here, which we probably want to keep access to. This is pretty permanent, so if we were to put that in there, we're not gonna be able to touch that at all, so. All right, so we used just a little bit too much. It's a learning process, so how to go overboard and then maybe bring it back when you try the other side. Okay, so that is the end of day 5. We have done a lot of the insulation. So I recommend kind of just having like a couple different insulations at your disposal. You know, go ahead, buy some of the sheep's wool. Other than that, we got the foam board, which is called the polyethylene, and then we've got the spray foam. Yeah, you know, I hope this is helpful, and you know, stay tuned to the next day.